The country's leading political party, the ANC, kicked off the year this week the usual way, celebrating the oldest liberation movement's 114th birthday. Coming as the celebrations did on the back of the party's historic loss during the 2024 national and provincial elections, it was no ordinary celebration. And in a year in which it will be fighting for its life in the upcoming local government elections, so much is at stake. Now, for the latest on this story, let's cross live now to our anchor, Iman Rappetti. Iman, a very good evening to you. Let us know how things are looking. I see that the tables have been set to be wined and dined for a 114th celebration gala dinner.
You took the words right out of my mouth, but fortunately you didn't take the dinner out of our mouth. You can see some of the starters already on the table. Starter confit chicken in leek press. That's how this evening begins, and then there will be a mains duo of chicken supreme in lamb shank terrine, followed by a dessert of petit fours. Now, our political analyst, Sandile Swana, is with me, and him and I had the privilege of tasting this starter. Sandile, how would you rate it?
10 out of 10.
Actually, really, really good, really, really tasty. So I think that everyone who's coming here tonight is in for a real treat. One of the biggest questions, of course, based on what we've been hearing over the last years, really, didn't put this plate down, is whose feet are going to be around the table. That's an important one. The question of the funding of the ANC, this Progressive Business Forum dinner, is about getting and making sure that the money starts to fill the coffers of the governing party. The governing party, look where we're stuck, of the ANC.
Yes, this is 800 persons. This can be 800 people here paying top dollar, to be here. So indeed, the ANC is doing its best to try and refill its coffers that are, by December, were running empty.
So this is a very, very important moment for it, and they want to be able to do it, especially in this renewal year, as scandal-free as possible. They don't want things to come up a little bit later on that lay in question the integrity of an important major gathering such as this.
Yes, I think I'm happy that the Progressive Business Forum has put up its name openly, because the secrecy around the funding of political parties has impacted on the ANC being historically the biggest party, but let's hope that they are busy getting to the bottom of that issue.
So that's how we're going to start it. Those were our starters, in a sense, if I could just use chefing parlance. But let's go to Ziyanda Ngcobo, who is standing by with Aaron Motsoaledi, some of the most memorable and recognizable names of the party and its cabinet will be appearing here tonight, and Ziyanda will kick off that conversation. Ziyanda.
Thanks very much, Iman. Well, we're right by this podium where President Cyril Ramaphosa will be delivering that address. And as you know, Iman, such an event is quite coveted because people pay to sit next to the president. In fact, this table is where President Cyril Ramaphosa and the top brass of the ANC will be seated, and we don't know how much the table or the seat next to the president will actually cost tonight. And I actually have spotted the Treasurer General of the ANC. But for now, as you've already mentioned, I want to bring into the conversation Health Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi, because we were just actually having this conversation off air about the state of underdevelopment in the Northwest that many would say. You're an ANC NEC member, but you're also a health minister in your own right, and a lot of anger from communities about, the state of play, but also to an extent, some people even having apartheid nostalgia. Just your reflections on the political landscape as you now prepare for that January 8th statement.
Well, look, I've done a lot of house to house since I arrived here. I've even gone to hospitals and I've even gone to clinics. It is true that there is a level of anger in some areas. And the most common problem we meet is about water. And I think it's not because the government did not provide water. I think it's because of criminality. Because where I was in Murulen today, the whole day. They tell me that they've got water now. And they believe, this week. And they believe that is because the president is here.
Yes.
There's water now. And they tell me that on Sunday, that water will be gone. Because the president will be gone. Now you can see that that's deliberate, it's criminality. Because if the state did not supply water, it can't just appear today and disappear on Sunday. And so they believe it is happening because there are people who are selling water in tanks, the water tankers. They say they are the ones who sabotage the water, the pipe systems, the valves, the water valves and all that. So I immediately phoned my colleague, a Deputy Minister of Police, because we have given her the job to deal with the Zamazamas here. Yeah. I phoned her, I said, there is the next job, water, because there is sabotage. She said, no, the prof joins. I'm sure you know there's not joins.
Yes, and yes. Provincial.
And there's a provincial one called prof joins. We're meeting, and this matter arose. And some people in the councils, they blame the Magaliesberg Water Board. So she says no, she immediately contacted the Minister of Water Affairs, and the minister put in Magalis, the CEO of Magalis. They said no, it's not us. So I said this is criminality, and I said, can you form a unit, a special police unit, to deal with this matter, because we can't let people not have water because some people want money. It's unacceptable.
But Minister, I have to jump in there because it seems like every time it has to be a national intervention. Surely that also speaks to the caliber and the quality of the cadre that you have, because we have local government elections coming up. All these issues, whether it's potholes or some of the small little issues that you identify immediately when you drive into the Northwest, they should have already been dealt with at a lower level. Why does it take you calling a deputy minister, etc.? Because ordinary South Africans don't have that privilege.
Well, indeed, you might be right. That's why the ANC said we've got to change and have face renewal. If you remember, we did a roll call to call all the councillors where they were addressed by the president, and there were controversies there about what was said by both our national chairperson and the president and all that. But we came out open, we didn't hide it, and say this year we're going to be very careful when we choose councillors. Remember, we don't work like the other parties where people go for interviews and all that. We go according to popularity. If you are popular or you know how to be popular in a village, you become a councillor. When you are not there about service, actually. It might be there, you are there about money. You are there about money. You have seen water tankers making a lot of money, and you want to make a lot of money. You avail yourself as a councillor by duping the people there or even corrupting them so that they select you. So we are going to have to be very careful to look at that things. If we don't, yes, this is going to be the issue. When I arrived in Maruleng, I addressed my own ANC members. I said, look, I come from Pretoria. If a tap of water is not functioning here, don't think I'm going to bring the solution or I'll know about it. You are the ones who know about it and who know who must fix taps. So then I told them, I will be able to answer things at my level, like if you ask about the healthcare system. And that's why they told me, no, there are problems in some clinics. And I went there. I saw the problems, I solved some of them, and some of them I know how to solve them. But local ones, I even told them, if there's a pothole here, you don't expect me to come from Pretoria to answer to people why there's a pothole here and why it's not being fixed. So you are right, it's local government, and we have got to fix it. Fortunately, it is one of the areas we have identified. And I think January 8th statement is going to say a lot about local government.
All right, that's Health Minister Dr. Aaron Motsoaledi there. And I'm going to ask my colleague Senzo Mahlobo and I to say goodbye to the Minister, but show you, I see a couple of the ANC's top leaders, including to my left, you will see the Treasurer General of the ANC, Dr. Gwen Ramokgopa, as we try and walk towards her. The room is slowly filling up. I also spotted the National Chairperson, Gwede Mandashe. He's on the other side of the room. We'll try and get to him. But of course, Dr. Gwen Ramokgopa in a conversation, and I apologize. You're live on Newzroom Afrika, Treasurer General. Thank you for your indulgence. This is a very important platform for you to raise funds. And the ANC, it's well known that you've had challenges. You held your ANC NGC, and your own staffers were protesting at that gathering. Your targets for this, how much is it to sit next to the president tonight?
Thank you very much, and good evening to viewers. This event is one of our signatured events where we invite the president to thank especially those that have been with us in a number of colloquia, in a number of engagements, dialogues throughout the year. And indeed, they do pay for the plate, and yes, they do pay more than the usual amount. And that's part and parcel of their loyalty to the African National Congress, and also others, even though they are not necessarily PBF subscribers, they appreciate that they need to be part of colloquia, part of discussions, and especially in this year that we hope that the national dialogue will go to the next level. I really would like to remind viewers that the PBF has a subscriber base, but the ANC is a non-profit organization, and it does receive funds from government on a quarterly basis. So, and as I speak, all our staff have been paid. And indeed, like any other institution, we do cash flow management. And if we have to reschedule and all that, we do that. I think it's normal for any organization. It's nothing to alarm. And yeah, we've had lots of programs. And here in Northwest, we've visited various communities. We even went to pay tribute to Moses Kotane and his wife, Rebecca Kotane, who is also a leader in her own right, having been part of the 1956 march and all that.
How much is it to sit next to the president, TG?
Well, we haven't tallied as yet, but we will tally, and then we will know afterwards. Thank you.
But how will you know? That person has to sit next to the president before, and or have things changed in terms of the process? Because the last time I checked, you pay a certain amount of money to have the privilege to sit next to the head of state.
What we've done is to divide certain tables, like for instance, if there are 2 or 3 stakeholders that would like to sit at the table of the president, we allow them. So they can take a table elsewhere and the seats with the president. But that's not really our focus. Our main focus is that we are here with a number of stakeholders that are here to celebrate 114th anniversary of the ANC and the 30th anniversary of our constitution. We've just come out of a colloquium which focused on 3 things. Firstly, on mining, how we can beneficiate and ensure that the communities, especially in this province as well, benefit from the proceeds of these natural resources. The second issue, we focused on the money system. Because the monetary policy and the monetary systems that are there are very critical to also raise venture capitalists, to also capitalize small businesses that want to grow, and to encourage entrepreneurship. So it is important we deal with that, and also to trade. And thirdly, for mining, we had Bridget Mutsepe and a young man who's also a miner. We also had the third topic was more around the Sovereign Wealth Fund. And we are glad that we had the previous Deputy President, Mlambo Ngcuka, also with the other two, including David Makura. So it has been rich discussions on how we take forward South Africa economically.
Okay, let's see if South Africans believe you, Dr. Ramokgopa. And I'm just going to try and steal Gweremantashe. He is to my left. He's always someone who's quite frank when it comes to issues regarding the African National Congress. As we've been saying, this is an opportunity for people to speak, but perhaps we might just leave it there for now and take you back to Iman Rappetti if we don't get an opportunity with Gweremantashe as he's currently still in a conversation. You're live on Newzroom Afrika, National Chairperson. I'm very well. Compliments of the season.
Complaints of the season.
Complaints from the people of the Northwest. Absolutely. What are you going to do about it?
Complaints of the season. There are so many complaints. You see, even where you have built so many RDP houses, they say you have left the houses incomplete. And I go and do inspection in local. I discover that out of a stock of about 50, about 10 of them are half built. It is this 10 that actually destroys the work done in 40. So we must try to pass the message efficiently as we go around.
The quality of the cadre that you deploy in local governments, because some of these issues cannot be dealt with at a national level, but also you've been talking about regaining the public confidence for, I think I can count at least 5 January 8th now. What's going to be different in 2026?
Unfortunately, confidence of the public in the ANC is an ongoing project. You should maintain it, sustain it, service it.
There is a Madlanga Commission of Inquiry and it's not looking good. In fact, the Northwest is where someone like Brown Mokgotsi came from, and there are allegations that actually he paid for delegates to be here. In other words, this public confidence building is very difficult when you are contending against a tide of damning allegations.
Can I tell you? You will never deal with an abscess unless you cut it open. You cut your abscess open first, you clean it, then you can treat it. But if you treat it on the top, you don't cut it, it will never heal. That's why a commission like the Madlanga Commission is so important for the ANC, because it cuts the abscess. And all we should do is to treat that abscess having been cut.
Maybe there are too many absces, if that's even the plural for an abscess. In particular, in a local government election year where even when you drive into the Northwest, one of the most glaring issues is potholes, for an example. So the quality of the cadre as well, at a local government level, you also have to deal with that.
Yes, it's potholes, quality of the cadre, amount of rain, and many other factors.
The rain?
The rain, yes. Don't you know that rain contribute to potholes?
I don't think so. I don't think the people of the Northwest are going to understand that, take that understanding or explanation.
Do you understand that? That water create holes on the road, but our cadres must seal those holes. But I'm saying it's the quality of the cadre plus the environmental conditions that surround them. It contributes to the nature of the road. But there are also good roads here. Have you driven on N4?
Yes, I have.
Okay, then if you have driven on N4, at least you have a sense of what is happening.
What is the ANC going to bring to the people of the Northwest? At least in this province, you still have a majority, but you could do better. Besides the potholes, there are severe unemployment, in particular amongst the youth. These are all issues the ANC is very good at diagnosing.
No, diagnosis is something else. Dealing with the issues is a different issue.
Exactly.
Let me give you an example. I gave a very balanced interview on SABC. Analysts blow it out of proportion, vulgarize it, and the debate is not what I talked about. All I'm saying is that if we want to deal with unemployment, we must all be active and be involved and not wait for the state If we wait for the state, it will take longer. You know, I have been to Cuba. That's why if you go to Foslo, where I was a councillor, you will find a clinic every 5 kilometers in Foslo, because we went to Cuba. In Cuba, if 20 people want houses, they all get into the project, work together. All the state provides is an engineer. And those people do the actual building of the houses, they mix the mud. We can't do that here. The state must build the house from the beginning to the end. Those who are beneficiaries are not participating. And I'm saying it's a legacy of the 30 years. We must correct it and involve our people in shaping the future.
The main message that the president must give tonight, he's going to have plenty of platforms, but certainly South Africans are wanting a change of tone. Perhaps they've been getting that, but what is going to be different from what we've heard previously?
Can I tell you?
Because I'm sure you've been participating in drafting the speech.
Fortunately, no, I'm not a drafter. I'm a political activist. I talk a lot of politics, I write nothing. Now, what is important, as a strategist yourself, you will never deal with a strategy without talking to it. I get shocked when people say, when you talk about your strategy, it's a talk shop. You can't implement anything unless you talk about it. If you implement 1/4 of it, 3/4 is not implemented, it is worth continuing talking about it until it is executed. So execution starts with discussion, it starts with an idea, it goes to the discussion, and it goes to the execution. And execution has a number of principles involved, and that is what we should be doing better.
But perhaps the issue is maybe you're not focused on discussing how to solve issues, but maybe leadership squabbles, 2027 conference around the corner, and it seems that maybe some leaders are more preoccupied with that.
Can I tell you something? There is no country in the continent that has given students opportunity to go to university than this country. We've done that without fail. We've built more than 4.7 million houses for people who are poor. And actually, if you look into our social security system, it favors the poor. But because it is ours, we don't appreciate it. Everybody else around us appreciate it. That's why now we have a different problem of illegal immigrants who want to come and benefit from what we have created, and we don't appreciate it.
Mantashe, I'm going to leave it there for now. He's the ANC's national chairperson. Iman, I know I've held you and Sandile Swana waiting for some time, but I needed to just grab a few bites from these ANC leaders before the official formalities get underway. They were meant to have taken route or taken off rather at 6 p.m. But as they're busy working the room, it's also important to try and get a sense of what we might be hearing not only tonight from President Cyril Ramaphosa, but in that January 8th statement. Do South Africans still even care? Do they believe the president when he talks to them? These are just some of the issues that we've looked into. Monies. Does the organization have money? We've heard lots of things. The Madlanga Commission coming with disparaging allegations. Will they survive that, what some might say is a PR nightmare? Iman, I'm sure you and Sandile will have lots to talk about.
Valiant attempt there, Ziyanda, to find out from the TG how much it's going to cost to get a seat next to the president. So let's just pick up on some of the themes. I mean, I don't know if we're going to be expecting anything radically different from the January the 8th statements past Sandile, but it's been 2 years since their defeat at the polls, and they've made some undertakings. We know the January the 8th statement is almost a assertion of their covenant between the ANC and their members. Have they done what they've said they're going to do in Khayelitsha last year? Are they out of ideas or making it up as they go along?
Yes, it's very difficult for them because the difficulties that they are experiencing now, even the difficulties that made them to lose the election completely, have been coming up for several years. Now, in the Western Cape, At the time they went there, the branches in the Western Cape were in tatters, the branches of the ANC. We have no report that it's any better today in the Western Cape. We have no report that it's any better nationally. We have no report that it's any better in the Northwest Province. So there's a number of categories inside the ANC, whether it's the quality of the membership, the quality of the leadership, which then translates to a dysfunctional state, that they are not yet there.
Look, it goes without saying, we have a general, a local government election that's coming up. Ziyanda's already spoken to the chair, the national chair, about when you drive into the community, one of the most glaring things is the potholes. He talked about rain and environmental issues being part of the mix, but also the quality of a cadre to be able to respond and to fix that so the community doesn't live in those conditions. But again, it feels as if the answers are similar. The approach is similar. What does the ANC have to do in this moment, at this gathering, to convince those who might have fallen out of love with the party, those who might still want to give it a chance, that it is up to the task?
Unfortunately, you cannot convince people here. How you convince the people is through producing concrete results at street level. If I were to be more direct, in some of the parties, whether it's Action SA or the DA, you would rather have those in your street and have the ANC nationally where they don't have to deliver anything specific. So the ANC has got to satisfy the people at street level. And you do that through the daily operations, the quality of the cadre at street level.
All right, but so let's break it down even further, right? If you telescope further in, Sandile, you and I, before we came here, were talking about the ANC's political power in a province like the Northwest. We've seen, and our reporters have been so diligent in covering the service delivery failures, whether it's around water, whether it's around the proliferation of illegal mining. I mean, who can forget what happened in Stilfontein, for example? And just a series of things where it seems as if the state has lost control. And you also made the comment earlier, when the ANC had the majority, they represented the party and state. Those days are gone.
Yeah, those days are gone. The ANC cannot be the state anymore. They've tried to take up the majority of cabinet posts. They've tried to capture KZN, tried to capture Gauteng without the majority. They don't have the votes. It's very difficult. And I want to raise one other thing about this. Mandela raised the issue of the RDP of the soul. When we have to have communities that are working in tandem with Zamazama mining, where illegal activities, land invasions, illegal mining, drug dealing, it means the fiber of our society. The ANC claims to be the leader of society, the controller of the state, and obviously the leader of itself. And that is exactly where it is failing more and more.
Well, let's go back to this event. I mean, I shared the spread, the menu. I mean, it's not a bad menu, and it doesn't seem overly... I mean, you've been to places where you've really seen 7 courses and the like, and we're told there are like 3 or 4 courses here this evening. The Progressive Business Forum of the ANC, it's happening under, their umbrella, essentially as part of the ANC. How important is this moment for the party to be able to get the money, as we said in the beginning, into the pockets, but at the same time lay out and make that recommitment in a believable way to its constituents, those that still remain in this election year?
This is very difficult. I grew up in this country. This is my 6th decade in this country. But
happy birthday.
I found wondering as to when will the ANC be able to host this type of event in a black-owned institution, if indeed there has been economic empowerment of black people in this country. I don't think you can tell people that they are enjoying freedom and democracy, and they, in their largest numbers, they are not actually getting into the wealth, they are not getting into prosperity, they are not getting into a better quality of life. And here is not a proper demonstration of that either.
So what are you expecting to hear? What do you think is the message of the moment that the party president, Cyril Ramaphosa, needs to deliver?
When I mean, before coming here, I was listening to the previous speech that he made in Cape Town. So he's got to assure his people that the ANC is still in control of the state, in as much as that state is not delivering physically in Umtata or in Toyando or in Lusikisiki. But he's still got to assure the people that the ANC is still in charge, the ANC is still the leader of South Africa. The ANC is still the intellectual leader. That is why they throw in their speeches words like theory of change, because they want to claim that space of being the intellectual leader of South Africa.
But there's a distance between those words and a lived reality, right? And that's so interesting, is why, and there have been many studies done about this over time, why especially the older institutional ANC voter continues to vote for the party, almost in a sense, heads on the bosom of the party lap, but feet in the running sewage in the streets and communities in which they live.
I think when I think about that, the person who analyzed that correctly was Thabo Mbeki in the 1998 speech, where he said South Africa is made up of two nations. The experiences that people have had of racism, of not being able to get good quality schools, that experience continues. And the dear, if you go to the Western Cape, and I've been there very recently, you still find on Beach Road, very clean, very tranquil. You go to Greenpoint Stadium, beautiful. Right next door, there's a squatter camp of black people. So people still feel that the white South Africans still want apartheid. And that drives people emotionally into the ANC. And unfortunately, the ANC is putting their feet in the sewage.
Does it help when the president says some of the best run municipalities are by the DA? Does it help their cause in that regard? What did you make of that?
We need to make sense of that. As I say, I've been to Cape Town, and during apartheid, as a vice student, I live in Braamfontein in a white area. So the cleanliness of the city was there under apartheid. What was not there was the economic empowerment and development of black people. Cape Town is very clean. Stellenbosch is very clean. Paarl is very clean. But I do not see the empowerment, economic empowerment of black people in Paarl, in George, in Stellenbosch, in Cape Town. So it's the cleanliness of apartheid that remains.
And again, these are topics to tease out. I mean, this is the eve of the delivery of their official address, and that will be happening at the nearby stadium, not too far from here. It's incredible how you have to drive on single roads in a heavily populous mining town with lots of trucks. It's really an arduous thing, and one wonders why even the mining companies perhaps haven't played enough of a role in putting back into the soil and into the infrastructure, into the local communities, what they've been able to extract out of the ground. I don't know where Ziyanda is. Let's just have a look. I don't know if she's still standing by or latched.